FNaF Movie was originally released on October of 2023. So that means that this year it's gonna be officially 2 years since the release of the original Five Nights at Freddy's movie. And since it's been recently released, the teaser trailer for the second FNaF movie, I'm gonna hop in the trend and talk about the FNaF movie. So yeah, let's talk today about the Five Nights at Freddy's movie. So, the Five Nights at Freddy's movie. The FNaF movie was originally released the 26th of October of 2023. And since its original release, it's been sort of like a bit of a controversial topic in the FNaF community. But as I already mentioned in the intro, it's been almost 2 years after the FNaF movie released originally. So I hope that the community is calmer. So let's just get right into it. The deal with the movie is that Mike and Abby had also another brother. But after an unfortunate event, and I guess we all know what that unfortunate event could be. And so the whole movie, Michael is just sad and reminiscing about the sort of like incident that happened with his brother. And since he's in a lot of debt and he needs some sort of way to sustain the family, sustain him and Abby, and also keep the custody of Abby, he decides to go to this guy called Steve Raglan after an incident that he had in his previous job where he decided to beat up the father of a random kid because he just fucking said so. So he goes to this guy called Steve Raglan to sort of like a job counselor. So this guy Steve tells him to just go and spend 5 nights at Freddy's. Oh my god, just like the fucking title of the game and the movies. Michael originally denies, but then after the whole issue that I just mentioned before, keeping Abby's custody because his aunt is trying to take Abby's custody, he decides to spend 5 nights at Freddy's. And honestly, you can guess the rest. I mean, the animatronics are possessed, they're going to attack Michael and all that kind of bullshit. Well, so it's sort of like a big plot in the movie that's also taking place is the fact that Michael Afton is reminiscing about his missing brother that I just mentioned before. So the deal here is that he just goes to sleep and he starts seeing visions, or sort of like, yeah, visions or dreams, where he tries to remember what happened, who took his brother. And that's sort of like the other plot that the movie has. That we'll talk about more about that later, okay? And yeah, so that's sort of like the basic concept of the Five Nights at Freddy's movie. Now, here's the thing. The Five Nights at Freddy's movie had a lot of different or sort of like mixed opinions. A lot of people liked it, a lot of people hated it, a lot of people said that it's their favorite movie, and some other people said that it was the worst movie ever. Most of the movie was made for sort of like for the fans' understanding and all the kind of shit. So if you're sort of like a casual viewer, you may not understand a lot of things that are taking sort of like place in the movie. And that's sort of like the general consensus of people. But is it really that way? Today we're going to find out about that. Or not, I'm not going to investigate or ask people about that. So here's the thing, the FNaF movie, personally, I loved it. It was an amazing movie for me. Yes, it lacked a lot in the terror, and we're gonna be talking about that later in the video. And I also have some friends that didn't like it at all. That they're also FNaF fans, but they didn't like the FNaF movie at all. And that's okay. And if there's something else that we all kind of agree on is that, oh my god, Mike Schmidt in the movie was so fine. No, but in all honesty though, if there's something that I think that we all can agree on, is that the acting in the movie was actually so fucking great. It was amazing. Josh Hutcherson made the best job playing Michael in the movie. I think that he encapsulated very well the character. His character felt so like human. Vanessa was also, oh my god, perfect. Elizabeth Lale did an amazing job playing Vanessa in the movie, and I have no words. And one character that I absolutely loved, I honestly believe that Piper Rubio did an amazing job playing Abby, and I also find her very adorable. And oh my god, William Afton was so fine in the movie. Also the fact that Matthew Lillard had also experience playing a killer in movies, that also added a lot of points for his appearance in the movie. It just made him 10 times better. He knows how to do the role. And if there's one thing that I honestly hated about the movie is that they didn't give more screen time to Matthew Lillard as William Afton. They should have given more time to Matthew Lillard as William Afton in the movie. Because yeah, I mean, he makes sort of like an appearance at the beginning, but most of his appearance was 10 minutes before the movie ended, and that's something that I'll never forgive Scott for. I wanted to see more of William Afton in the movie. But let's hope that for the next movie we can see more of William Afton. And honestly, it's looking very promising, the next movie. Yeah, I know that the missing children didn't play sort of like that big part, like the characters that I just mentioned. They're not the main characters in the movie this time, but those little kids did such an amazing job while playing like dead kids. Honestly, I love the cast. I don't care what people say if they complain about the cast, because I think that I've seen people complain about it, but I don't care. The cast is amazing. And don't get me started on the puppeteers for the animatronics. They did such an amazing job. Now let's get into the visuals of this movie. What about the movie visually, like the lighting, all the kind of stuff? Honestly, the lighting was amazing. The scenery was just on point. And no, I'm not saying the movie's perfect yet, but at least in these aspects, it's just, oh my god, so amazing. The scenery and the whole place built for the Five Nights at Freddy's movie was just amazing. The pizzeria was made so fucking well, and I loved it. Like picture, you could see in the desk of Mike the little fan and the cropped paper and all that kind of shit. The plastic cup, the poster. Oh my god, it's so on point. If there's one thing that I think that most of people can agree on, is that visually the movie captures perfectly the essence of Five Nights at Freddy's. And honestly, seeing the work put into the animatronics, also the behind the scenes, because my dad got me the night shift edition of the Blu-ray, of the DVD version of the Five Nights at Freddy's movie, and seeing all of the behind the scenes videos, behind the scenes video, it was amazing, honestly. The way that they explained how they did the movie, how they brought it to life, and we could see the results in the movie. One of the parts that was the most the most loved parts of the movie, the soundtrack. Honestly, you cannot deny to me that the soundtrack of the Five Nights at Freddy's movie was amazing. The intro song is just, you caught me, it's just art. It's pure art. The Newton brothers did a very well job with the music. The atmosphere was just, it was amazing. And don't get me started on the inclusion of the Five Nights at Freddy's song by the Living Tombstone. It was the best way to end the movie, the best song, the best ending credits. And now that we have most of the production themes out of the way, we need to talk about the most controversial thing about the movie. The plot, the horror, and some scenes that people didn't like at all. Now, the story. I made sort of like a bit of a, a small, long summary of the movie before, but it's sort of like a bit deeper than that. But here's the thing. Mike also starts having sort of like nightmares or visions, sort of like memories from the past, where he's trying to remember what happened with his brother that went missing. That's sort of like another big plot in the movie. I already mentioned that. It could be part of the main plot of the movie. Honestly, I believe that there's like two main plots of the movie. The plot that Mike's spending Five Nights at Freddy's and the animatronics trying to take Abby and turn her into an animatronic. And the other plot is Michael Afton trying to deal with the trauma and surpass the trauma of his brother being taken away. And sort of like 20 minutes before the movie ends, we get the reveal that Steve Raglan is in reality William Afton. Sort of like the thing that he did in the books, where he sort of like changes his identity to become a security guard and calls himself Dave Miller. And so here's the same thing, he changes his identity to Steve Raglan and becomes a job counselor. The plot goes something like this. Mike goes to Freddy Fazbear's Pizza. Here there's the robots and all kind of shit. And so there's a point where Abby's babysitter, that's called Max, is killed in Freddy Fazbear's Pizza. So Michael Afton has to take Abby into the pizzeria with him to the night shifts. And while staying there, he meets Vanessa and blah 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 blah. We get to see at the end of the movie that Vanessa in reality is the daughter of William Afton. Sort of like Elizabeth and William Afton. And if this sounds confusing, I know that it may sound confusing. I'm not the best explaining at all. But these are sort of like the basics of the plot of the movie. Oh yeah, did I forget to mention that the missing children want to turn Abby into an animatronic? So the kid that's possessing Golden Freddy asks Mike in one of his dreams that if he wants to go back to his brother and his family like it was before, and they'll get Abby in exchange. And yeah, that's the thing that happens sort of like at the end of the movie, and all the bullshit that starts happening, and William Afton appears and blah 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 blah. But here's the thing. A lot of people didn't like the plot. A lot of people didn't like the story of the movie, and honestly, I liked it. If the FNaF movie has 1,000 defenders, then I'm one of them. If the FNaF movie has 100 defenders, then I'm one of them. If the FNaF movie has 10 defenders, I'm one of them. If the FNaF movie has only one defender, that's me. If the FNaF movie has no defenders, then I'm dead. And honestly, I'll admit it. The sort of like my opinion in the movie was so nostalgia driven, and the fact that I grew up with Five Nights at Freddy's is just, it's sort of like a big influence on how I see the movie. But honestly, if I didn't saw it from this point, I'd say that it's sort of like average. Yeah, not as amazing, but not that bad. And yeah, I say it because I've heard other people say that it's not that good, but it's not that bad. And yeah, they're actually right. In my personal opinion, the movie, it's amazing. I loved it. For me, it's just so exciting seeing that movie. But yeah, we gotta be honest, it's not the best movie out there. And now we're gonna talk about the other defining factor that people use to hate on the movie. The horror. The movie is supposed to be a horror movie, but honestly, it's not. It's not a horror movie. We gotta be honest with ourselves. It's not a horror movie. I mean, the ambience is a really good ambience, sort of like create tension and horror. But I don't think it does that really well. And yes, I know that I already mentioned that the ambience is just amazing, on point, but not for horror. It works perfectly for the FNaF movie, but if we put it in any other context, it will not work. Honestly, I personally believe that the FNaF movie is more of like a suspense movie. I mean, it has more of sort of like keeping the tension of the audience, well, while watching the movie, but it doesn't actually terrify you. The only thing that actually terrifies you is Balloon Boy in the movie, because oh my god, he's terrifying in the movie. And that's something that also made the viewers hate the movie even more than before. But if there's one thing that I'll die defending, is that the FNaF movie does not need any blood at all. Five Nights at Freddy's, it's always been a game that doesn't rely on blood and gore. The most graphic thing that we've seen in the FNaF games is William Afton getting spring locked in an 8-bit minigames. It's pixels. And honestly, I cannot tell you how much it annoys me that people who thought that the FNaF movie is going to be so sort of like bloody like the FNaF VHS tapes. That's something that I'm also going to complain about, the FNaF VHS tapes, but not in this video, in another video. Back in the into topic, FNaF has always been a game that doesn't rely on blood and gore in anything, in any ways. Because if there's something that actually annoys me a lot from the sort of like the horror content, is the fact that most of them rely on blood, gore, and all that kind of stuff. So, what do I think about the FNaF movie? I liked it. For me, it was a really good movie. Yes, I know that it has its flaws. Let's be honest, it healed my inner child. And there's a lot of stuff that if you weren't a fan of the franchise, you wouldn't fully understand. It's funny because I still remember that after watching the movie with my dad, I came home to explain him all of the Easter eggs of the Five Nights at Freddy's movie that appeared in the books and the games. But as I mentioned, the FNaF movie is a project made for the fans. And yes, some fans also didn't like the movie, and that's perfectly fine. If there's one thing that the FNaF fandom needs to understand is that not everybody's not gonna have the same opinion as you. And that's perfectly fine. If you didn't like the movie, that's great. I mean, you had your reasons. And if you liked it, yes, that's perfectly fine too. You had your reasons too to like the movie. The FNaF movie was a love letter for the fans. Seeing the animatronics on the big screen is just amazing. I cannot tell you the happiness that I felt when I first saw them in the movie. And how every single Easter egg that I saw in the movie, I was going wild about it. So yeah, that's sort of like it for the FNaF movie. We need to see what's going to happen with the second FNaF movie, which honestly, it has a lot of potential. Have you seen that scene of Mango breaking the fucking window? It looks raw. So yeah, that's basically it. We just need to wait for the second FNaF movie to come out. If you made it to this part of the video, I love you so much. Thank you for making it this far. And I hope you're having a great day, great night, great afternoon, great rest of the day, great rest of the afternoon, or great rest of the night. Bye bye.